Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, we are going to be talking about the wait until keywords. Before we do that, let's recap where we left off. So I just run the file again and see where we left off. Yes, so our test case is still passing. So let's check the results. Yeah, so it took 8 seconds for the test case to finish running. And these are the keywords the test case used. So let's go back to the waiting times. For that, let's visit the Selenium library page from the robotframework.org website. Let's type wait until. Yeah, so as you can see, we have a few of them. 13 keywords matching 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so 13 keywords matching this. So we have wait until element contains, wait until element does not contain, blah, blah, blah. For now, let's stick to the wait until page contains element, wait until element is visible, wait until the page does not contain element. So let's click on wait until page contains element. Let's see the definition. So from the documentation, it says wait until the element locator appears on the current page, which means we are basically waiting for an element to appear on the page. So it says from here that we are waiting for an element locator. So the locator we are going to use to select this input field should be on the page. It waits until it is on the page to do something. So it fails if timeout expires before the element appears. Sometimes or mostly web pages load. So you see them loading briefly before the elements on the page appear. So in that case, this wait until keyword waits for the element to appear on the page before it decides to interact with it. So if it's not on the page after a few seconds, then it means the test case will fail. More examples on that one. And also we have the wait until element is visible. Waits until the element locator is visible. Sometimes an element will be on the page, but it is not visible to us. So the element, wait until element is visible keyword will wait until the element we are trying to interact with is visible to us. So sometimes it can be on a page, but it won't be visible to us. So in place of the wait until page contains element, we can use this one because this basically has the two properties. If it is visible to us, then it is on the page. But if it's on the page, it does not necessarily mean it's visible to us. So it depends on your the situation, but you can use either of them, but I recommend using the is visible one. And then we have wait until page does not contain element. Sometimes you have to wait for an element to disappear from the page before you continue with your test case. So that is also there. And we have wait until element is enabled, especially for the buttons. Sometimes you need to fill in the required fields on the form before the button is enabled. So we need to also wait for that, even though it may be on a page and it may be visible, but sometimes the button will be disabled. So we need to check for that as well. So basically, we are going to be using the wait until element is visible, wait until element is enabled, wait until page contains element, and a few others when we need them. So let's see how it goes when we try to use these keywords. For that, I made a dummy, like a little tweak to the existing register form we have been using. So it takes in a loading time. So let me refresh here. So this is briefly, it's loaded for 1 second and then this came. Let me refresh. Now 2 seconds. Now 5 seconds. Yes. So which means if we don't wait for these elements to appear on a page before we try to type in the names, the John and the Doe, the test case is going to fail. So let's see how it works. So let's copy this URL, register with loading.html, and paste it over here. This is where we left off from the previous. And let's see how this reacts without the waiting times or the wait until keywords. So let me run it again. It's waiting for 3 seconds. By now, the John should have been typed and the Doe should have been typed as well. And since the web browser has not closed, meaning something went wrong, so let's close it. Usually if something goes wrong, the browser does not close. So let's close it manually and go and check what the failure says. It says typing text John into text field, blah blah blah, element not interactable, meaning it's trying to interact with that element on the page, and it has even given us a screenshot of what the last, so this is the last thing the robot saw before the page loaded, but in that case it didn't load. So this is where the test case failed. So where it fails, it usually takes a screenshot so you know what actually the robot was seeing at the point of the failure. So it's seeing, the last thing it saw was this loading page with the 3000 milliseconds. That's 3 seconds. So let's run the test case again and let's see what happens. Now 8 seconds. So after 8 seconds, the register form appears, but the test case has already failed. So let's go back and refresh. We have the same error, element not interactable. So this is where the waiting keywords come in. As you can see, it is still hanging over here, down here. So you can just use Control C to close it. So typically after the open browser, after the web app you are testing opens, it's usually advisable to use the waiting keywords on the element you know you are going to interact with before you actually interact with them. So let me quickly remove this, get Linux speed. Yes. So we know we are going to be interacting with Let me close one of these. We know we are going to interacting with this first name field and the last name field. So we can go and start typing wait until element is visible, and then it takes the locator. So we can just copy the locator from down there and paste. So that is for the first name input field. So the same for the last name field. Just copy it, Control C, wait until elements is visible. So let me remove this slip. Yes, so when the web app opens in Chrome, then it waits for a while for the first name field to appear on the page. And then after that, it waits until the last name field also appears on the page. So if this one fails, then it's not going to go to the next keyword. So if the keyword at line 15 fails, then it won't move to line 16. So let's see what happens now when we run the test case. Yes. So straight away, you can see the difference. So let's go to, yeah, that's already refreshed. It took 9 seconds. Let's see. So wait until element is visible. Let's see what it says. It says wait, well, it is still giving the same explanation. So let's run it again until it fails. Yes, it still passes. So this is still going to pass. This is still going to pass. I want it to fail because okay, now it fails. Now let's see what it says. We already have it open. Yes. So it says the first name element. So element with the locator this not visible after 5 seconds. So let me go to PyCharm. PyCharm, I mean the waiting keywords take the locator and an optional value. So it more or less takes two um, two arguments. As you can see, it says locator and timeout. So the timeout is none, which means you can supply it if you want, or you can omit it. The default waiting time for all these waiting keywords is 5 seconds, which means if the loading takes more than 5 seconds, then it's going to fail because the Selenium is only going to wait for 5 seconds for this first name field to appear. If it doesn't appear, then it fails. So we can put in, let's say, 10 seconds. You can write the seconds as well, but you can leave it at this. So 10 seconds and then another 10 seconds. So let's see what happens now. So this is 2 seconds. So even without the 10 seconds applied, it would have passed because the default is 5 seconds. Still 2 seconds. Yes. So let's run it again. now 8 seconds. It still works because the page only loaded for 8 seconds, but we are telling the Selenium to wait for 10 seconds. So this 10 seconds is greater than the 5. So let me remove, let me remove only that of the first name, and let's run it again and see. Yes, still 8 seconds. It has failed. So now let's go and see what the error says. It says first name not visible after 5 seconds. So typically I put the 10 in all my test cases. I put 10. Sometimes you might have to put like 1 minute or 2 minutes. So that's like 120 seconds. And me putting this 120 seconds doesn't mean the test case or that line is going to pause for 120 seconds. It means the maximum waiting time we are giving it is 120 seconds or 2 minutes, which means Selenium is going to wait for maximum 2 minutes if the element is not visible after 120 seconds, then it fails. But if after 2 seconds of waiting the element appears, then it runs. The other keywords run. So let's see. Yeah, it's going to wait for 8 seconds. Yes, so as you can see, it did not wait for the whole 120 seconds. So that is the explanation into how to use the waiting keywords or the wait until keywords. So we have wait until element is not, let's see. So let's see what we have. We have the wait until element is visible, wait until page contains element, wait until element is enabled, wait until page does not contain element, wait until keyword succeeds. So this is for a keyword. Sometimes the keywords fail. So we'll wait until it succeeds. And then wait until page contains. There are a whole bunch of them. So hopefully we are going to have time to go through most of them or to use most of them. So I highly recommend we use the wait until keywords for the elements we want to interact with before we actually interact with them. So we minimize the rate at which our test cases fail due to the loading time of the page. Thank you for watching this video and see you in the next one.